All right, Philip, you want to show? You got anything?
Yes, let's say about comets. What I don't like about comets is, or meteors or whatever, is they supposed to have a ballistic trajectory or whatever. And so if they hit the ground, they're supposed to have an oval mark, not a circle one, nothing like this. It's supposed to have an oval mark because they move in a ballistic trajectory and they hit the ground while they're hitting, they're still moving. And so they leave a mark of an oval. Okay, it's not a round or something like this. What about missiles? Also, missiles could cause melting because after the explosion, obviously everything melts.
Yeah.
So why not? And again, if we're talking about red-skinned people, or we should think about those red devils, I think, because devils are always painted in red, and this is what the message is that everybody is owned by devil, and so those people are, I think, in that specific image that you showed of Germany, people like gathering in red. And what I wanted to show you today, guys, is a couple of pictures but I think they will be debunking what Martin was saying today about wooden things. So people like to carve and melt the stone in the previous ages, and they usually did it very easy. So they had a technology not to carve in the wood, but to carve in stone. And one guy, I've been showing his channel lately in one of my videos. He is an Indian guy. So he's like showing the principles of this technology in India, what they used to create the type of architectural styles like in caves and stuff like this. So, okay, let's see. I don't know how I can scroll through this. Can you see my images?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they had it like everywhere in caves and in cities, and so it's like amazing structures. So probably the technology was not a handmade technology like scientists tell us right now. So it's not the paradigm of a manual work, it's a paradigm of some type of construction instruments and the technologies that are close to what we have today. And also we have many examples of this brilliant stonework or whatever, vases, and if we look at these Indian blocks, we see that they have separate parts, and they all being produced. So it's a production. It's not a manual work. It's more hard and to understand it, but it's a production. It's a factory. It's not a just some lazy guys came and told their slaves what to do. It's unimaginable amount of blueprints to build such structure, because it's all geometry, it's all architectural knowledge they have to be using. So this is still hanging on and it's not falling apart. And we can see all those things are separate pieces and they've been produced. Okay, even this horse water tank is still very hard to say it's manual work, because it looks like it's a concrete block or something like this, or maybe it's a melted wood stone block or whatever. And also we found many pictures of buried Buddhas and sculptures in the mud in India. So they also have an effect of mud flood there. And all
those, like the terracotta army, aren't they?
Yes, it looks like pretty much the same. I agree with you. So and all those sculptures inside are empty. So this is not a solid body, it's an empty form.
Okay.
So it's really amazing how to produce this thing. It's a production, not a manual work. As you can see, the concrete is empty inside the sculpture. Can you see that?
God.
And also we can find many of these in India. This is, I don't know what it is, but it looks very impressive to me, because how can you build something like this? I don't know.
For this purpose.
Yeah, they have many of these artifacts in India, and they have many stonework and masonry and all this stuff. So India is not that retarded as we used to know, because it was captured by British Empire, and it was enslaved, and it was pretty much massacred, and it was split it in two countries as Pakistan and India, and it was before a whole big country, a whole world. And those people were calling themselves Nagis, and they were having a black Kali mother as a god. And many of those constructions look very impressive, because we cannot perform something like this in the mountains. So either it's a concrete of some melted type of concrete, or a block, I don't know. Wow. But anyways, this is very impressive, because they have it all around the place, and it doesn't look as a manual job or whatever.
See, Philip, though this one, this one, I think it could be a combination, because it's so ornate, like Martin was saying, like this would seem to be a lot easier to carve if it was out of wood. This stuff right here, could it be a combination of rock work and woodwork?
Why not?
Well, it depends on what resources do you have. If you have a wood, you carve it from the wood. If you don't have a wood, if you have a stone or a concrete block, you carve it from the concrete block. So they still have the technology to do the both.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think both.
Yeah.
But I can't, make it equal. Like we cannot just say it's all made from the wood.
Yeah, I agree.
How could that be? Just look at that. It's just wow.
So this is just, unimaginable in our era, because, if people had time to produce something like this, if they had all this, funding to do this, if they had people who were able to do this, they were not stupid, okay? They were not retarded. They were smart and intelligent, and they were great architectures. Anyways.
Great.
So, and this one is a picture from 19th century. If we look closely on this block, we see many marks of like this, and we see this steam engine something here.
Yeah.
So they used to have a machinery of a steam type of engine, and maybe even drilling to cut off these blocks from this quarry. So like first they drilled something with steam engine, and then they chopped it off the rock. So that's how they produced all these blocks. So this is an ancient technology, and it's nothing really hard to do that, and they perform it very easily in 19th century.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. They could have.
So, okay, and this is also let's see.
Ooh.
This is a huge oil pipeline, and look at the size of diameter. This is oil pipeline in 19th century. So they still had people who were smart enough to construct something like this, even though they lost all the technology, they lost all these atmospheric electricities and stuff like this. So they still could perform it in 19th century.
Incredible.
Okay, let's see some other pictures. you know, I showed something like this before. So let me just, you know, these are, I don't know what these things are, but there are many of these in British museums and Egypt museums. You know, British stole a lot of artifacts from Egypt, and they represented in the British museums, and they still don't understand. They don't explain what these things were really for. Okay. So these are some technological devices from maybe chemistry labs, I don't know, some spinners, and they all have, like this is quartzite. This is very, I don't know how to say that. Very, very hard element to drill. And we can see many drills inside, many marks of those traces of the drills. Quartzite is very, very hard material.
Right.
And those could be, let's see, those could be some kind of HD hard disk drives. I don't know, maybe CDs or DVDs of ancient times. We have plenty of those. Yeah, everywhere. And
oh my gosh, look at that.
in China, in Egypt, everywhere. So probably, as this is
it's like a flange.
As this is some type of
like
image of some electricity bulbs here, and maybe some wavelengths inside. I don't know what's this. So some type of electrical devices here.
Definitely.
I have hard time here scrolling this stuff.
Like that.
Also the marks. Can you see the marks of the drill?
Yeah.
Here. This is a very precise drilling because
millimeters and perfectly parallel. Wow.
Let's see.
Some of these materials. Wow. Looks like bakelite.
Bunch of those CDs, DVDs everywhere in the museums. Martin, I wonder if you want to go to some museums of Egypt exponents and maybe picture some.
Yeah, well, I'm getting out there as soon as I can. Yeah, I am. I'm going to do stuff like this. I'm banned from the Welsh Museum. I got kicked out for looking at dinosaur bones. They threatened me with the police. I posted thousands have seen it, and I did warn them this would happen. Yeah, I got kicked out of my local museum, the Welsh Museum. They're chicken bones right behind the counter. So I started photographing them. So, yeah, dinosaurs. Yeah, right. And they basically, about 8 of them escorted me out of the building. All on film.
My point is, if they had enough pressure and the precision to drill such holes in those materials that are really hard to drill even right now, what type of technologies, what type of engines, what type of elements did they use to spin the drill so fast so it doesn't crack the device? I don't know.
That's incredible.
Bunch of those things there.
I've got to get to museums and see this stuff.
So I hope I'll make a video, a specific video about that. And also I wanted to show something else. Let's see. As I've been making the videos about kings and crows, and I also thought about cardinals, which is also
a bird. Yeah.
Yes, it's a name for how the crow sounds. Crow sounds like car. And also we see, we've talked about some British kings, and they have it like here, Dio en mon droit. Why are they have it in French? Having it in French? Can you answer me?
It's the same on the Welsh 3 feathers. We got Ich Ding. It's German. Why have we got that on our 3 feathers for our emblem?
So what I'm thinking is when I started to realize that all the Germans, or all the Russian czars and the British kings were relatives, and they have like 95% of the German blood, and the Germans also came in relatives with France, and we had all this Holy Roman Empire in medieval. This is probably when it comes out. So all those kings and all those royal bloods or blue bloods came out from France and Germany. And what we have right now is a theater of absurd, and World War I, World War II, and maybe World War III, which is coming up, is just a setup to, you know, entertain the shippo and massacre us so we can, you know, be in control, stay in control. So I'll probably make a video about this pretty much soon, because I have many material about this encryptions.
Coding in there. I noticed how the white horse is chained.
So Dio and mon droit is God and my right. So think about it.
Yeah, they mean their right as in it, you know, like their birthright. Like they think that it's their right to rule. You know?
So how can you be a British king if you're not an Englishman at all? So just answer me. I don't know. So how can you be a Russian emperor if you're not a Russian? This probably is a setup for us to think about it and pay many money. How much is British Elizabeth spending a year? Just imagine.
Christ, if she went from just left Buckingham Palace to go, you know, down the road, it goes into the millions. It's ridiculous.
That's why they dress the same way. When we look at Nikolai II costume and the prince who was married lately, the red-headed one.
To Nicholas, Tsarina.
Who was marrying? Who got a marriage?
Harry, Prince Harry.
Harry, yes.
Oh, Harry, him. Oh,
he had the same costume as Nikolai II, the Russian Tsar in 19th century. So they all just, you know, all the relatives. George V was a relative, the cousin of Nikolai II.
Nicholas and Wilhelm, there was a cousin. They were all first cousins of Victoria's grandsons, all of them.
Well, so pretty much the same. And
you could see the connection with them all through the hidden hand. If you look at their portraits, I did a big thing on it. You know, it's like they're all secretly, you know, they're showing it in plain sight, right? They do the hidden hand, like Harry with Meghan. You know, he did the hidden hand in the photo with Meghan. Yeah, thanks, Martin. Just like that. I mean, it's so obvious. No one's going to casually.
We know.
If he doesn't want his hand up, then you'd stick it in your pocket. You wouldn't stick it in your jacket like that to rest your hand, you know? So he's showing that he's part of it.
Of course.
Yeah, I've got many information on all those connections, so probably we'll come up with a new video pretty much soon. And about comets with the tail and all this blue stuff. So maybe this is connecting to the blue blood or the copper dioxide that have been shown in the previous videos. So probably it's just some type of chemical weapon to, you know, chem spray.
Yeah, I've been thinking it.
With the missiles. So they send the missiles, spray the chemicals, everybody dies in the area, and maybe it becomes a desert. Fire starters, you know, Prodigy with the fire starter symbol. I'm the fire starter.
Twisted fire starter.
Yeah. So all those fire starters go and, you know, burn the fires around the towns, you know.
Philipp, it'd be a good way of getting a lot of people out of the way, because it's not an easy thing to kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that would be an excellent way. That'd be better than wars.
So the fires you've been talking about, the main fires, which are like 200 fires at the same time. How could they stop the 500? So they send the fireman to start the fires. And that's the way you do a Chicago fire, San Francisco, London fire, Paris fire. They were made at the same period of time. It's the second half of 19th century. So think about
Now, what do you
it.
think that speaks to? Do you think that speaks to displacing people?
Yes.
So
yes.
you can take something from there. You know, you're getting everybody. It's sort of like the volcano Rosette.
It's like using shepherds to control the sheeple. You let the shepherd from one side, and sheeple goes to the side you want. So the direction you want him. So this is the way to control shepherds.
And coastal land, if they want coastal land, right? They manufacture tsunamis and stuff like that, and then they can take over.
I mean, it's funny, you know, you talk about manufactured tsunamis, and it's like you talk about being asleep and how, you know, being awake or whatever. How it's hard sometimes, like even within my own family, you just run up to so many walls where people they just don't believe it. You know, they just can't believe it. And we went to this theme park. And they had a pool, and they were able to generate these waves in this pool. Yeah. And I mean, literally, I was just like, they have these out in the ocean. They probably have these turbines, which could isolate, you know, you could direct a tsunami just to hit a certain spot, you know, hit New York City, because that's what's everyone thinks New York City wiped out by a tsunami. I mean, they had these fans, and they generated these huge waves, and
exactly,
and eye-opening.